This morning, a local man and his family will be featured on Family Feud this week.
Ted Bleefnik, to my right, I've got my...
And some of his family members traveled to L.A. to be one of the featured families on the popular game show, aired weekdays right here on KHQ ABC. He says appearing on Family Feud was a complete thrill, and he cannot wait for the show to air. When asked about host Steve Harvey, one of his brothers had a cool interaction with Harvey.
His suit line is very nice. He has a bunch of different ones that he wears for every episode, even though they tape several in a row. And so if he finds a snazzy dresser when people really want to dress to impress to be on the show, like he relates to that and he likes to comment on it. You know, my older brother had this white and floral sport coat, and so that immediately drew Steve's eye. And then my younger brother had blue suede shoes on, and so they got kind of into a commentary thing, which was kind of neat.
What's the biggest mistake you made at your wedding? Honey, I love you, but said I do. Not my mistake. I love my wife. I'm going to get in trouble for that, aren't I? Yeah.
This is the hospital where Rebecca Bleefnik used to work. And we are going to be driving to the home where she was found murdered on February 23rd of 2023. So Rebecca and Timothy, they had gotten married back in 2009. They both had met at Quincy University. And that is where Timothy Bleefnik played football. He's actually in their Sports Hall of Fame at the school or what have you. So if you did not work for law enforcement, then you probably would not have known who was responsible for her murder, because Quincy has a population maybe about 40-ish thousand people. So it's not a town that everybody knows each other, but everybody knows somebody that knows somebody. It's that kind of close town. And when the murder took place, everybody was in alarm because murders don't happen very often here in Quincy. And so people are just wondering, is there a murderer on the loose? But if you did work for law enforcement and you were in the know, if you will, then you pretty much knew that Timothy Bleefnik definitely was the prime suspect, even though the police won't say that. They felt at the beginning of the investigation into her murder that he was the prime suspect in it. Now, during the last couple years of her life, the Bleefniks were going through a rather tumultuous and nasty divorce. There was, of course, domestic violence all throughout that the tenure of their marriage. And at the time, Timothy worked for some recycling facility here in town. They had 3 kids together, and he was also a part of some community theater group. I guess he was an actor. If you go to the community theater group's website, if you do a quick Google search of Quincy Community Theater, you will not find him in any of their old plays or what have you, because they've totally have scrubbed him from their website altogether. So I don't want to call a murder anything that is related to the word common, because it is never common to the person or people that it affects. But I read a lot of murders, and this murder would have really gone, you know, probably not over my head, but I wouldn't have glanced at this murder any harder than I do any other murder, except that for some weird reason or another, this murder got a lot of media attention, nationwide media attention. And that's because Timothy Bleefnik was on an episode of Family Feud back in 2020. He appeared on that television show with his parents and two of his brothers. And during the show, as you well are aware, the host, Steve Harvey, well, he asked Timothy a question.
What's the biggest mistake you made at your wedding?
Honey, I love you, but said I do. Not my mistake. Not my mistake. I love my wife.
So that was pretty cringe, pretty weird, if I do say so myself. And even Steve Harvey was taken aback. And a lot of people, if you do watch Family Feud, you definitely will remember that episode, because it was very odd. It was very, very weird. And that is what got people to notice this murder. So if this guy was already thinking, you know, those kinds of thoughts, then, I mean, obviously for years and years and years, this marriage, I mean, there was a lot of deep-rooted anger and animosity from Timothy going on to his wife, Rebecca. This is the neighborhood where they lived with their 3 children. And this is the neighborhood where I'm going to take you to the house where she was murdered on February 23rd. And her kids had gotten out of school and they were not picked up. And that was not like Rebecca to not pick up her children. And a family member was worried and went to the home to go check on her, being because, of course, there was problems with Timothy. Now, she had a restraining order against him and his father, and in retaliation, whatever you want to call it, Timothy had taken out a restraining order on her. And obviously she had every right to, you know, fear for her safety, because this guy was an abusive idiot. And when they opened the door, they found her dead. She was shot, I believe, multiple times.
His phone shows searches for the following: how to open my door with a crowbar, how to make a homemade pistol silencer. The last minute of Becky's life were spent in fear and pain and terror.
I ran up the stairs, and since she supposedly was sick, I went to the bedroom to see if she was laying down. Didn't see anything in her bedroom, went into the attached bathroom, and that's when I found her body lying on the floor. She looked like she was dead.
The mother of 3 boys shot 14 times after someone used a crowbar to enter the home where she was living. The couple was in the midst of a messy divorce. Her sister telling jurors that Becky feared her husband.
This is a text that Becky sent to myself and my husband, Brett, regarding fear for her life.
If something ever happens to me, please make sure the number 1 person of interest is Tim, as that is who would do something to me.
And like I said earlier, he was the prime suspect, but he wasn't arrested for the murder until about, I want to say it was maybe a week or 2 afterwards. He was arrested at his home, which is not very far from where I'm at right now. And we're going to visit the location of where he currently is residing at right now. And of course, as you can see, this is a very, very nice neighborhood, very quiet street. You're not going to see much activity here at all. And I just passed the house, but this is the driveway, so you can kind of see the house is very, very empty. Nobody here. And I believe they still own the house. I'm not 100% sure, but this is the house where she was murdered at. And so right now we're going to take a short drive to where Timothy lives at now. After he was arrested, Timothy was taken to the Adams County Jail, which is this building right over here. And whenever you want to go visit somebody in the Adams County Jail, you would walk through this door right here under the sign that says jail visitation. Now, at any given time, this jail holds roughly about 200 people. He's in Pod A, if anybody's wondering, and he has no bail. So this guy is not going anywhere at all for what it looks like is going to be a very, very, very long time. This is Rebecca's final resting place. All right, guys, I am out of here. Rest in peace to Rebecca here, and hopefully justice is served and that bastard never sees the light of day ever again. I'll see you on the next vlog. Peace out.